for others. So yeah, but we'll do a chair yoga practice session, but let's start. Amy, do you want to share how's it been teaching in the last month?
Oh man, so I have taught 4 chair yoga classes.
4 once a week.
4, because we started in July, in the middle of July, so the classes were on Mondays. So I did 3 of those, and then I did one for the first session of August. Our senior center just does it like that in months. And then today, just from 10 to 11, I taught my first gentle flow yoga class on the mat.
Okay, great. Was anyone in chairs in the gentle flow class, or?
I offered chairs because I didn't have any blocks or straps. I'm so new, I don't even have any of that in my possession. So it went well. Several of the students had taken from the previous instructor. They all did amazing. I gave the chair as an option, and several of them took it for balancing and things like that. But they did amazing. They were in their down dogs and all of that. But for the purposes of this, for the chair yoga, I mean, I had 21 people in the class. It's just opening up yoga to so many people that couldn't do it before. And it's just fantastic. I'm my worst critic, and I keep saying that, but you know, I'm getting some good feedback. I just know that I can improve.
We all can. So actually every now and then students are the worst critic, because you never know. Students will sometimes, criticize. So it's kind of part of teaching is to kind of, look at what we're doing to improve, but not to downplay the benefits of yoga. Don't always have to do with our teaching. If we're sharing the technique, it works. We learn with practice, how to do it better, and ways that we can help more people. But we have to balance out letting go of our inner critic, because that can, just take up, instead of thinking of the positive. After you taught 21 people, I'm pretty sure so many benefited, probably all of them, they're coming back. So they don't always share the positive after class, but sometimes 1 or 2 students will share what they didn't like, but all the other 20 that might have loved it might have not shared. So you never know. But if you're your worst critic, just, be kind to yourself, because it's amazing. You're just starting and you have 21 people and every week teaching and benefiting seniors and the gentle yoga.
There was a woman 2 women came up to me afterwards, and one of them is recovering from heart surgery, and her daughter was with her, which I didn't mind. She stayed in the class and helped her. And the woman was just beaming. She was so happy that she could move around. And another woman had a lot of knee problems. So she wanted to come up to me and just almost apologize. And it felt good, because I was telling her, you just do what you can do. I mean, your knees will tell you what you can and you cannot do. And what you do is wonderful. And so she was so grateful that she could be there and not have to, and can still do yoga, because there's no way with her knees to get up and down from the mat.
Wonderful. Isn't that interesting? We have this habit, and I don't know where we all learned it, from parent society. People apologize for their injuries. Sorry, I can't do this pose, but there's nothing to apologize about. It's a good thing they're doing yoga at all. Right. So people sometimes do that. And then they also, they'll apologize for what they think they can't do. So as I always focus on the training, we refocus on what you can do. So just what you did kind of re-emphasizes, great, you're here. Everything they're doing is good. Focus on the positive. But then as teachers, we do want to apply that to ourselves too, right? And not just totally knock what we didn't do as best as we could teaching, because we sometimes focus on the few times we didn't teach it as we wanted, or made a mistake, or were flustered. But what about the rest of the class where you were teaching everything that helped, right?
Right.
So, and sometimes when you're flustered or teaching what you think is not as best you could, the students may not even realize it, and they might still benefit. They're doing the practice. So
right. I mean, my way of doing it for me is, at first I tried to do it just from memory, and I didn't do well. I mean, I wouldn't say I didn't do well. It was just more pressure on my brain. So I came out and I just started writing out, the different poses, and I just have it on the chair next to me, and I'm just like, okay, now we're, just glance, and it made me feel better that I had it written out. So that's one thing I just wanted to ask. Now, Michelle, do you teach as well? I mean, okay.
Yes.
So.
And I do something very similar. I try to memorize it, but I have my notes on the side because it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to remember. Plus, making sure you're, constantly, evaluate, looking in the or looking at the students, helping them. So yeah, I have my
a lot to do. It's much easier being a student. But yeah, so that's good to know, because at first I didn't want to be that teacher that had the notepad with me, but because I've been in classes as a student where a teacher has notes, and then I've been in classes where teachers don't have notes, and I didn't want to be the teacher with the notes, but I need to be. I think it makes me a better teacher.
I think writing it down, especially newer to teaching, it's even not new to teaching, it's very helpful, because even if you're not going to follow what you wrote, based on if you're not looking during the class, it's just like another way to learn, right? So it's another way to get in your mind an idea of a sequence. So even if it's not exact, it's part of you're in your mind creating this whole class. So I think it's helpful. Writing is another tool for our own memory and organizing, and it's putting it in writing, not just in your head. So I think it's a great idea. And whether you look at it or not, you have it. And remember, when their eyes are closed, you can always, they don't have to wait to the end for relaxation or closing your eyes for meditation. You can do that. Take a pause, close your eyes. I do that anyway. Just be aware of what's going on in your body. And if you feel uncomfortable, everyone having you look at your notes, that can be your window when you have them in between poses. Close your eyes, observe the body, peek at your notes, and then remind you, oh yeah, I want to do this pose.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great tip.
Or in the beginning, in the beginning, when they close their eyes, that helps newer teachers, or anytime, not even always new. It helps people as teachers relax, because sometimes you get nervous, right? It's a little public speaking feel.
And we have a mask mandate now. So I had to wear my mask today, and that was challenging, because I'm doing yesterday talking, and I felt like I wasn't out of breath, but I think my talking was a little labored.
Yeah.
Because I had to be covered, but I mean, I'm not complaining. It was just one added element of the class that I wasn't anticipating.
It's true. And that just started where we are, Michelle, in California. They mandated masks indoors for anyone vaccinated or not as of yesterday, when they finally just kind of allowed classes to get back. So this is the reality of our new teaching. I mean, of course, I wouldn't do then the alternate nostril breath, because then they have to take their mask off. So there's some things in your plan that depending the area you're in, our mandates change. So you gotta.
Where is Michelle? Where are you?
I'm in Georgia, Dallas, Georgia. It's about an hour, kind of like an hour northwest of Atlanta.
Okay.
So
are they mandating indoor masks for you for classes if you teach?
No, not that.
Okay, so then you could teach alternate nostril breath, but here in California now, they're masked, we can't. So everything's like some of our plan, but if you have a video, this can help too for your marketing. If you have the students' emails, or if you're even on your Facebook, or if your students look at that or you want to email out, you can always make a 30-second video or minute video, teach them alternate nostril breath on your, film it on your phone at home, email them and say, we don't do this in class because masks, but try this for calming a few minutes a day. You can have them do it like at home for homework. It's also good marketing, because then underneath you could say, join, reminder, next week is class, or new class starting. And then you can put what you're offering. So you can use these little short cell phone videos you make and put on, if you don't have YouTube, you can put it right on your Facebook or however you email it out. So that could be, teach them what they can't do in class that they could do at home, or like in your setting, if you're not having them lay on the ground with legs up on the chair, you can demonstrate it on your home floor and share that as a minute video and teach them, try this at night to sleep better, simple tools. Mm-hmm. People appreciate that, because they're not going to always do that hour at home, but they need to ease insomnia or panic attacks. So these little breathing techniques or legs up on the chair really can help, right? Naturally. And they appreciate it. So whatever you can teach in class, you can offer some videos if you want, just for ideas. So yeah, so great. So keep at it. You'll, you got a big class too, 21 people. That's a lot. See, a lot of people to look at, right? It's a lot to juggle and to focus.
That's what I almost liked my smaller class better, just being a new instructor, because I think with the mat yoga, I can get up, I walk around more, and it was just less, like Michelle said, it's just less people to look at and help them with their alignment and things like that. But I like them both. There's benefits to both.
And for only teaching chair yoga, and for those on this training, never taught yoga on the mat or won't, just teaching chair yoga, you're not you have less multitasking. But if you teach gentle yoga like you did and you suggest how to use a chair, you're actually making your work a little harder because you got more to explain. So if you're teaching gentle yoga, you don't have to offer a chair, but now that you know about it, it's like a yoga block, and it's actually so useful. And even if, like you said, most didn't need the chair or none did in the gentle yoga, but it's there as an option. So say 1 week, a student comes in and I want to do gentle yoga, but I can't, it hurts my knee, I can't get on the ground, or I have a cast. Now you can have them do every pose in the chair while the rest of the class is on the mat. Right. So even if you didn't need it yet, it's just an extra tool you have. Learn the chair just like a prop, like a yoga block. So it's an extra, because chairs are pretty much in every setting you're in. Somewhere in the lobby is a chair. So even if that one student needs it as a yoga teacher or gentle yoga teacher, you've now just not had to exclude that one person. You don't say, you know what, this class we're doing standing poses, come back when, you know, another day. No, you can invite them in with a chair. So it opens up the door for yoga teachers, for yoga for everybody, all ages and ability. Even if you don't know their exact condition, you know, okay, you can do down dog in the chair seated, if they can't put weight on the wrist or whatever you remember. But the chair classes you're teaching, all chair, is going to keep you learning all these chair poses, and then you'll be able to bring it even more into the full class. Because then when someone can't do down dog on the mat and put weight on the wrist, you'll know, because you keep teaching sun salute and down dog, it'll be refreshed in your head. So it all goes together. So keep up.
And I'm about 70% through your course. So
great.
Getting there. I just want to get it done so that I can tell my class I'm chair certified.
Almost there.
It's just a personal thing. I just want to be able to tell them that. So
yeah, and there's more in that than you need to teach again, but I get through it as you can. And some
I'm learning a lot, right?
Towards that end is some are like you lying 10 or 30 minutes in relaxation. You're actually enjoying practice too. It's not all just instructional, and it's like you also learning some meditation and for your own self. So it's not all memorizing every chair pose. So when you get towards the end too, there's if you didn't get there yet, there's meditation, relaxation, and that's not too hard to do.
The educational part, like learning about the Om, I had learned that in my teacher training, but it was a nice refresher on what the symbol means and things like that. So there's still some education tucked in there with all the other
and some topics you might be drawn to, so you can go in deeper later on. Like it's really neat learning the philosophy behind the Om, the chant, even why we do the poses, the philosophy behind it. And I offer that some in the intro video on philosophy. It's really neat because it gives a new depth as a teacher. You're not just doing cow pose, or you're not just saying Om, but you really, oh wow, we're merging with everything in the universe and the sounds, and you learn a little more depth. So go at your pace. Today and Janine, hello, and Trinidad, there you come joining us. We're going to do a practice now. Before we start, is there any specific poses, sequences, questions, things that you want to, that I'll review as we do a practice that you want to cover, that you've been teaching or not sure of or want to teach?
Maybe some alternative things you can do in a sun salute, because I felt like I was doing the exact same one through all, I've been doing very similar, but I could go back to your video. It'd be nice to know what other sort of alternatives for sun salute.
Okay, I call it, once I teach the basic round or two, then I call it variation. So we'll do that today, where once you're doing sun salute, you can, one breath per pose, maybe 10 poses. Then after a few rounds for variations, and then you can add in a leg stretch, knee circles. You can add in some of the warm-ups within the sun salute. I'll show you.
Yeah, I can go back to your training. I know I remember from your training, but it's just nice when it's live.
In person, you sometimes maintain it and really focus different. So, Okay, and then Michelle, did you want to make sure we get to something today?
Would you mind showing maybe like a reverse triangle, how to do that in the chair, or maybe like a reverse extended side angle, just to see how we can use the chair for those?
Yes, you don't see it in any of my classes, or any of them probably in the training, the Paravritta Trikonasana revolved triangle. That's because I rarely teach it in the chair. It's tricky for many, but there's a way you can definitely do it. So we'll go over it today. For sure. And it's what is useful, because if you're teaching yoga class, say on the mat, and you're teaching them triangle into reverse triangle, Or reverse warrior, it's nice if that one student's in a chair, you know how to adapt. Yeah, so we'll do that. But if you're teaching just everyone in a chair, you'll see, we'll try it today. You might say, forget it, because it is a twist and a forward bend, and that you can hurt your back if you're not careful. But there's ways to do it safely. But for your, certain classes, like in a senior center or senior home, the revolved triangle, I don't teach because you'll see, it's a little complicated. But for other ages, remember, chair yoga can be for a company class. But for sure, teach it to them. There's no problem if they're pretty healthy, 20s, 30s, 40s, but you can offer it modification. But yeah, so we'll get to that. Good question. And reverse warrior. You can do all that flow. You want everything you do on the mat over time. Don't feel pressure. As you teach yoga, as you go on years and years, over time, you want to be able to eventually, it may take 5 years, but you want to be able to know that no matter what yoga pose you teach on the mat, standing, inversion, upside, it doesn't matter what, no matter what pose over time, you should be able to eventually give it maybe 3 years, 5 years, it'll take time, but maybe, anyone's in a wheelchair or chair, you can show them another way to do the pose, pretty much every pose, and then until you learn that, they don't have to do 10,000 poses. If you're teaching them 10 chair yoga adaptions, everyone else is on the mat and you don't remember all the other, that's okay. They can also just meditate or watch the breath, skip the other poses where you don't know adaption. They don't have to do all. But the beauty is, as you learn to teach chair yoga, you'll see that you actually can adapt everyone in the chair pretty much. But don't feel pressure. There's thousands of poses. Even if you know 8 to teach and do, you're pretty good, right? You don't need the variety, but it's there. Basic sequences are great. Every week, they come once a week to your class, joint warm up, sun salute, maybe tree in a balance pose, spinal twist, breathing, stress management. Wonderful. They do that once a week and nothing else for 3 years. How wonderful.
I worry sometimes it's gonna be quarter till and I'll be done with everything on my list.
Yeah.
So learning to kind of stretch things out.
Yeah, and then do you notice sometimes then you're stretching out too much and then you're like, oh wait, time's wrapping up.
Hurry up and meditate. Yeah, not a good sentence.
Yeah, if you say like you're all the way down, like you kind of start to look, say you're in an hour class, maybe around like 10 of, you want to have them on the ground, legs up on the chair pose or shavasana, give them 5-minute relaxation. You'll start to prepare the time. And then, that leaves 5 minutes for them to slowly get out of the pose, maybe sit and meditate a minute or two, because you don't want to rush out. But say you're done, 20 minutes left. You did 40 minutes poses, you know nothing else to do. I have nothing else. And now it's 20-minute mark. Have them still do 5-minute relaxation. That leaves you with 15 minutes. It feels like, now what do I do? But you can have them come out slow. Teach them slow counting the breath, 4 second in, 4 out for 3 minutes. Breathing exercise into a 3-minute meditation. There's 6 minutes. It'll go by. You'll be able to, and then you could always do like a gratitude at the end. Think of something you're grateful for. I sometimes do that just for community building. I put the hands like this after the practice. Close your eyes. Think of 3 things you're grateful for, or gratitude meditation. And then say you're at the 5-minute mark, you can have them each go around on Zoom or in person, share. I want to share what you're grateful for. So it's not just to finish the 5 minutes, but it's actually a beautiful way people share gratitude and positive thinking. So those are ways in that last 15 minutes: breathing exercise, few-minute meditation, gratitude meditation, and then sharing that last 5 minutes. Yeah, and if you're at the 57-minute mark in a 60-minute class, you can leave a few minutes, question and answers or comments. So don't feel pressure on that. But yeah, part of practice is looking at the clock, kind of getting a sense of timing. So yeah, just you're doing great. That's all we can do, right? We just keep practicing, do our best. I'm sure they're benefiting. They're doing yoga. Trust me, they're benefiting, right?
Yes.
So yeah, be gentle to yourself. Pat yourself on the back. It sounds like you're doing amazing. I affirm. It sounds like you're doing great. So today, so today we'll get to that. We'll do a 30-minute practice, beginning to end. So you can kind of get ideas too, how I'm going to, sequence it for us to make sure you have time to relax, meditate, not rush in the end. And we'll get to all what you asked. We'll do some of the challenging flows. Michelle, good questions. Janine, is there anything, if you can hear me there, anything you want to make sure we get to today in terms of poses? Any pose or sequence?
I don't mind doing the warrior sequences like we did on Monday, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the warrior
Okay.
poses, sequences, and of course, this one I'm always catching my tail with this one, the eagle one.
Eagle. Okay.
I think the eagle one is a bit. I think the eagle is a bit harder for me because of my shoulder issue.
Yeah.
But I still want to get it properly.
Yeah, because whatever you can do.
That's all. I'm fine with anything else.
Okay, that's great, because even the eagle, what I'm showing, I don't have a shoulder injury. So your eagle still could be this or whatever it is. So know that whatever you can do, some of your students might be able to do less physical range of motion than you. It's not always more. So it's good to still learn to teach it. You don't have to do it a certain way to teach it, right? So, and
yeah.
teaching how, oh, I'm modifying because I'm not going to lift my elbows. I have an injury. Where some of them might be able to lift without you demoing. Also teaches them you're taking care of your injury in your body, and that's yoga too. So but you can still do and teach. So we'll go over that. And in the warrior flow you want to do, we're going to get to Michelle's reverse poses and reverse warriors. Okay, and does anyone
that too.
Does anyone want, I'll do the 30-minute sequence. Does anyone want to teach any part of it for practice? I might call some of you out during and see if you want to teach a pose during, but I'll guide you. What was that?
Let's do it. She's teaching people now.
Yeah, yeah. But they're not ready to raise their hand. They want to be off.
Teaching people
yeah.
It's hard.
Amy, how are you?
Yeah, it's hard to hear Janine. She kind of cuts in and out. Is that for just me or for all of you?
No, yeah, I think your connection, Janine, was cutting in and out a little. You're saying let them teach because they're teaching already. Is that what you said?
Yeah, if they want to.
If they want.
And Amy, how are your classes going with your people?
Yeah, she's got 21 people about once a week for seniors. It's going.
Well, my first round in August, I had about 9 people in the first group. And then a bunch of new people showed up for August, and well, out of the 9, 7 came back. You see what I'm saying? So that was really a compliment to them liking to teach, liking
excellent
yoga. So that was fun to see.
And if it's like a series class at a community center or senior center, like this season, it's a few months series, know that then they like it. They tell their friends next year or next season, you'll have a whole new bunch referred.
Well, no, right now it's just month to month.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they'll keep, as they like it, they'll share with the others in the community. So it builds over time too, right?
But I'm good with the group.
Okay.
Honestly, you know, I'm not, my goal is not to have a big room. I think 20 is like enough for me as a teacher.
You can limit it. You can limit it too, right? You can limit your class size if you don't want, you have the right, the way they're limiting it now with the corona restriction, you can also limit it for your own comfort. And
the senior center limits it to 30 for the room size.
There you go. Okay.
So I'm good with 20.
And keep in mind too, even online on Zoom, if you want to give students a certain amount of focus, you feel more than 10 is too much or anything, you have it's your class, you can always create limits too for that, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. So we'll get to this all. And at certain points, if you want to teach, just raise your hand and unmute. I'm going to get to all of what we said today. And if you want to practice teaching it after I show ideas, just raise your hand, unmute, and then we'll repeat it twice is okay too, if you want to get the hang of it. Okay. So I'm going to. Oh, I was on mute. I'm saying I got you all on mute, so don't worry if you cough or dogs barking, and then there I'm on mute. Okay, so let's start a 30-minute flow. We're going to learn as chair yoga teachers, just ideas for a little more flows, if you want a little more variety and some variety in sun salute today. So let's just start centering. So we'll sit tall. Okay, close your eyes. You can scoot forward on the chair so the feet are on the ground. You want to rock a little side to side, then even out the weight between the sits bones. Feel the hands on the lap. If you want them to first finger wisdom mudra, or just rest the hands where they are. Center the head over the spine. And then take a few slow breaths, allowing your breath to help adjust your posture. Since this is a chair yoga teacher training class, I'm going to just point out, I right away started feet on the ground, body in the chair, head over spine, just first right into the physical body, right? It's hard to concentrate on the breath and more subtle. We just want to first get present, feel the feet on the ground, even out the weight, sense your posture. Just start real simple. And then just continue with slow, deep breathing. As you inhale, sit a little taller. As you exhale, to relax into the body. And repeat. Inhale, sitting tall. Maybe the shoulders can relax, the face can relax, any areas that you feel can relax. Maybe the stomach. Just check in with your body. After going from more obvious, the physical structure, the body, more gross, they call it, like the more in yoga, the gross body, the physical body, not gross like bad, but gross is like more obvious, the physical body into the breath body. We went, notice the breath, a little more subtle. And now we're going to go a little more subtle to the sound of Om. So we'll join the palms to prayer. I'm going to add in a mantra for our inner guru, our inner light, our inner guide. Feel free to join in. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidananda Mortaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. That means the guru, the teacher inside of us, inside of you, inside of me, inside of each one of us. The inner teacher is auspiciousness, united in truth, knowledge, and bliss. Salutation to the one beyond the worlds, peaceful, independent, and radiant. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Bow the head into the heart. That's just getting a little bit outside of our own little minds and worlds and remembering we're connected to all that is bliss, truth, and existence. And lowering the hands. And we're going to go right into our sun salute now as the warm-up. Sometimes in classes, for an hour class, I'll teach the wrist rolls and go slow, but Amy had a great question. How do you do variety in sun salute? So I'm going to start with basic sun salute, because traditionally it is a warm-up. And then I'm going to add in some warm-ups for the joints within the sun salute. So here's some ideas. So let's start with prayer pose, hands. Okay, we're going to inhale, stretch the arms up. We haven't moved the body yet, so I'm going to start gentle. Exhale, hands to thigh, and here's where I will point out, if you're not forward bending for back pain or osteoporosis, those are like two of the main ones, but there's other reasons. They can stop there, stay upright. Otherwise, some of you might be comfortable to go further down, maybe touch the feet. And then lift the heart, extend as you come up. I'm going to mirror image you. Let's inhale the right leg up, seated lunge. Good for the sciatic joint. And then lower, exhale, and switch. And Donna, you're not on video and you're on mute, and that's okay for the practice, but welcome. We'll reconnect after this session, the practice part. So just do whatever's comfortable. And then mountain on the inhale, optional cat, navel to spine, exhale. Slide the hands back, our little back bend, heart lifts. You don't really need to be warmed up for this because this is starting to open the spine. If you want to go deeper, let's hold now. Maybe elbows go back or hands to the chair, face back behind you. If you already feel warmed up enough to interlock fingers, you can try that. Bhujangasana, cobra, and then release, stretch the arms up, inhale, exhale, prayer pose. Okay, that's like a basic sun salute that I have several versions of, but that's kind of a basic. We'll try that one more time. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Now you may not be lifting arms overhead for shoulder injuries. You just go where it's comfortable. Option to touch the feet or floor. Inhale, lift. As you lift the heart, you can take hands right under the left knee, sit tall, left leg up, seated lunge, lower, exhale. Switch, inhale. Exhale, lower. Inhale, mountain. Optional cat-cow. Exhale, scared cat, hands back. That's like the cow, right? Like you do on all fours, but it's kind of also cobra. So you can go a little further, maybe hands to chair base. Or fingers interlock. Maybe hold a few breaths. I like offering hold this pose a few extra breaths since everyone's either from age or computer use, our postures can kind of go forward. So this counteracts that. And then release, stretch up, inhale, exhale, prayer pose. Okay. You may have some variations of that, but that could be like a basic sun salute. Now you could just do that 4, 5, 6, 8 rounds, and it's nice moving meditation. But Amy, you asked, how do you get variety? Within that sequence, I'm going to show some variety ideas now. So let's inhale. We're going to keep that same base sequence, arms up. Exhale, forward bend, wherever's comfortable. And now I'm going to inhale, lift your left leg up, and now hold. And here's what I'm going to call variations. Now you can do an ankle warm up within the lunge. Circling the toes. Okay, and then you can go right into, let's go one more warm up for the hip joint, circle the knee. So these are joint movements within the sun salute, both directions. You can do up, down, side, side, and then release. And before we switch, just close your eyes. See if you can feel, it might be subtle, but the right hip compared to left. I could feel what feels better one side. Do you feel that? So simple, right? So if that felt a little better, let's switch. Start with the ankle, circle the toes. Now, if a student or you are not lifting your leg, just pointing out, you can also modify that like this. You just lift the heel and circle. So you can even modify the modifications. Okay, then go into your knee circles. A few in each direction. And if you want, try up, down, side, side, any movements. So not an exact pose, it's just joint movements. And then lower, and then we'll sit tall mountain. Now exhale. Now we're going to finish up that sun salute, cat to cobra. Option of interlock fingers. If you want a variety for a forward bend, you can go from here. If your fingers are interlocked or even hands on hips, you open the legs wide, you can do a variation. It's not in the full sun salute, but it's a wide leg forward bend with the hands interlocked for a shoulder and hip opener. If the fingers don't interlock, hands can be on hips, elbows draw back. And inhale, rise, feet hip width. We're finishing up that sun salute. I'm doing this within the sun salute, prayer pose. And relax. Now, if that's hard to memorize, like you don't want to forget the rest of the sun salute in the order, you can also do these poses separate, but I'm just showing you how you can give variety within sun salute. Okay, we'll try some more for fun. So let's stretch up. This one will be for flexibility. We're going to fold. You're going to lift your left leg up. Okay, now for leg flexibility, we're going to do a leg stretch. This is a nice variation in sun salute. You can either hold the leg there and stretch. You can also point and flex the foot or rotate the ankle again. Now, we'll all be different heights. So some people, if you need more gentle or more support, maybe the heel's on the floor. And if you want to stretch the hamstring, if you can't comfortably lift the leg, heel on ground, you can bow forward to get a hamstring stretch. You can also use the belt in the air wherever you are. So these are some leg stretch ideas. Okay, if those will be very few students comfortably do this, but you don't need a belt if you can hold index, middle finger to big toe. Most aren't comfortable with that. That tends to crunch our back, so try to lift. Okay, I see y'all doing that in the video, but that's not, most of your students probably won't at your typical senior home class, but just keep in mind, that's an option. Yeah, or leg, good, and then switch. Hamstring stretch. Okay, so start gentle, stretch the legs. Some students, maybe here, maybe on the ground, can lean forward. and go where your body's comfortable. I like to show, like, even if my leg stays here, I like to point that out when I teach. You can go here because not everyone's comfortable lifting the leg. You can use a belt. Some might need to bend the knee. I sometimes demonstrate the different variety, right? And then breathing. Sometimes people look at you as a teacher and think I have to look like the teacher, but it's no, they have to do what's their body's comfortable. Yeah, you're welcome to hold the big toe. There you go, Michelle. If that's comfortable. Janine, you had it on the other foot. There you go. And Amy, this is not your typical class at all. Hold the big toe comfortably. So, okay, and then release, but if that's an option, and then mountain. Breathe in. Okay, I'm gonna have one of you unmute and keep going with the sun salute from here. Let's see who remembers. We're halfway in, right? We did our variety leg stretch from the lunge. Who wants to keep going?
I can do it. It's fine. I'll just, do you want me to just do a normal one or?
We're in a half of the sun salute. So we did up, forward bend.
Oh, okay.
Lunge, and then we did a variation leg stretch, both sides. And now to finish sun salute, try, it doesn't have to be the exact one I did, but try finishing up after your lunge. And leg stretch.
All right, inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. And then as you rise, place your fingers under the thigh, lift the leg, shoulders back and down. And you can extend the leg. It can be lower, it can be on the ground, just to stretch the hamstring. Shoulders are back, try not to round your back. And hold for a breath or two. Lower the leg, come to mountain. And then we'll exhale into cat. And inhale into cobra, whatever arm position works for you. Nice stretch through the spine. Come back to mountain. Reach up, overhead, arms back together in prayer.
Beautiful. Now you did one leg, so now we're gonna try it again to make sure we get to the second leg.
So whatever, you gotta remember what leg you did, because I don't remember.
Yeah. See how the way I taught it, actually, the way I just taught it before, and I do this in the training to make it easier on everyone. So you teach one leg and then just go right to the second leg.
Okay.
If you notice, you don't have to, but I did that just because it's that way, as a teacher, you got both sides in the student.
You're right, and I do that, but because I think you added the variation, I got mixed up. Normally I do it, when I do the regular one, it's like lunge and then lunge, right?
But if you're teaching your gentle yoga class and you're teaching sun salute, it's gonna be the way you just did it, because you're gonna go one side lunge and then you do the flow, right?
Right.
Something like that. So it's good to know both, because if you're teaching on the mat,
right,
the lunge comes after a few poses. It doesn't do the way I taught before, right? So it's kind of good to know both. But if you're just for teachers only teaching chair yoga, simple will be one leg then the other, right?
Okay.
But yeah, try now second side.
So we'll do it again on the other side. So you just have to remember what leg you just used and then use the other one. Palms together in prayer.
As a teacher, you can always say switch legs and then you don't have to worry about right or left.
I know. That's another trick I've learned. So the mirroring thing is hard for me, to say lift your right leg when I'm literally lifting my left, but I'm getting there. Okay. Nice deep inhale in, exhale. On your next inhale, arms come up. Exhale, fold, hands on thighs if you need the support. Take it down as far as your body will let you, nice flat back. Exhale. As you rise, inhale the other leg up. And then extend and hold. Maybe circle the ankle if you need a little bit extra right there. And then lower the foot to the floor, firm on the ground, mountain pose. Then we'll exhale into cat, rounding the back. And then inhale into cobra. You can interlace the fingers behind you if that's available to you. And then come back to mountain pose. Reach the arms up overhead on the inhale. And exhale to prayer.
Beautiful. Those are some ways to do variety. Leg stretch, knee circle, ankle roll. That's within that base sun salute. Let's just try another way to do variety is offer a different type of sun salute. So let's try this one other version. Kind of more.
Can I ask you one quick question before I forget?
Yeah.
So when you're doing cat and cow, what is your philosophy on how much to bend your head forward or your neck back?
Very good question. If you're doing it on all fours, which is what I modified it from, right? I actually do move the head.
Right.
But not, you don't want to tilt the head too far back. That's from this angle, but it's a good question. When you're in the chair, sometimes I watch and people drop the head a little too far back, same in Cobra. So I think it's okay. It's fine to move the head if you want. In that cat cow, the head does move. Inhale, arch, exhale, but not too far back that it's compressing. However, in Kundalini Yoga, there's a similar exercise called camel ride. Hands are straight on the knee. And that you're moving the spine, pelvis tilting forward back. You could try it without moving the neck. See, a little different. That focuses more on the spine. That's usually was modified from this camel ride. I guess like you're riding a camel, kind of fast, inhale, exhale. Both similar benefit on the spine. One moves the neck, one doesn't. So you're not wrong or right in the chair, but I do notice the angle in the chair. Some tend to drop the head back. But first, you could hurt your neck. You don't want to go too far back. But same with Cobra. Look at your students. I like to usually point out in the class, I say lift the heart more than the head. Because what people are doing when you lift the head, they're not getting the upper back benefit. Even if they don't hurt their neck, they're losing the upper back bend because they're focusing. They think they're doing a back bend because they're looking up, but all they're doing is getting a neck movement. So I focus on lift the heart, right? We want that back bend here. Because what does gravity do as we age? Taking us down, right? We want the yoga to open us up. So good question. But you can also say, let's keep the head centered if you want them to focus on spine. It's beneficial to move the neck too. So either way, two different.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Okay, let's try. I'm going to teach just one more idea. This is in your Sun Salute module under Ashtanga Yoga Sun Salute with photos and videos. So this is another way. So variety can also be two different Sun Salutes, not just within it. So we'll just do a simple one. Inhale up. Okay, exhale, forward bend. This is adding the down dog. So we lift the heart, arms. If your shoulders are okay with it, upper arms by the ears, and you can hold 5 slow breaths. If that hurts shoulders, arms in front, wherever you need. When you want to come out, up to you how long you hold, you can exhale back to forward bend. Inhale up. Exhale, prayer. That's another way, and that's simple without halfway lift. Another adding in halfway lift would be inhale up. Exhale, fold. Okay, here's our halfway lift. Hands stay on floor, shin, wherever you need. You lengthen spine, shoulders away from ears on your inhale. You fold back in on exhale. And inhale, down dog. Breathing in. And you can exhale, fold. Inhale up. And prayer. So that's a whole other Sun Salute, really. It's actually like in Ashtanga, they have Sun Salute, like versions, A, B, a few. So that one's more like modifying from this one. You exhale, fold, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, you can jump or walk back, chaturanga, up dog, down dog. They hold 5 breaths, inhale. They jump forward. I like to walk and then inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, inhale, up, back. I'm going fast, but that's kind of that one. 2 different ones, right? Without the lunge. So does that give enough, some variety to try out?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. Now let's get to Michelle's warrior and twisting triangle. I have it in my head from Simone in the Olympics. She says she was getting the twisties. Like one of the twisties, it was when you flip, turn as you flip, and it goes so quick in that half a second. I'm like, so now we say twist. I keep thinking of the twisties. She kept saying they lose their orientation in the air. It's amazing
Right.
what they do. So we're going to go slow. We won't lose orientation. We're going to go very slow.
We're not going to be 5 feet in the air either.
No, and no flipping. So we'll start with the seated Virabhadrasana reverse warrior. So take your legs wide. Okay, I'm gonna show 2 ways. More gentle. You just keep the hips forward, right leg to right. I'm mirror imaging you. And Amy, if you get, it is very confusing at first. As teacher, you can also say, that's my left leg, use your left leg. Then you don't need a mirror image. So there's that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mirror image just because I think it's easier for you to see. You're gonna stretch your left leg out. Flex the foot. Okay, there's your quad strength. For those that aren't standing, flex the foot, get that shin and quad strength. This is more gentle, arms out like a T. Let's try the gentle version. Look to the right. You're still strengthening, right? Deltoids, quads. A gentle way to reverse the warrior is right arm up by the ear. Modify, if you're not taking the arm up, go halfway. The palm faces towards your back leg, and then your left hand wouldn't go on the left leg because your leg's at an angle. It would just go, you can just bring it more down. I'll show why in a sec. Inhale up. You can go to extended side angle, right arm to thigh, left arm over ear. Okay, and if anyone's watching this recording later and you didn't start doing this yet, don't worry, these are more, you don't need all these complexities. I'm just showing for those who do this standing versions and want to teach the chair yoga. Let's try it again. Warrior 2, look to the right, inhale, and exhale, hold. Okay, right palm up, inhale, reverse warrior, just gentle. It's a lateral bend. Now we're going to go to extended side angle, either right hand or thigh to chair, left arm over ear. You're getting lateral stretch, right? Side stretch. Inhale up. Okay, then let's just hold here for a moment. You asked about triangle. You could also do a seated triangle, just simple like that. So maybe go to the left side, extend the arms equally. Trikonasana, that's one way. If somebody's not moving their legs, you can do the arm part, extend. Okay, and then I'm going to not teach the triangle seated. I think I'm going to show standing in a moment and then come up. Okay, and we'll switch. I just want to point out the reason why I'm suggesting in reverse warrior to go like that instead of there. It's actually not a big deal because you're not going to harm your back. So you don't have to do that. But when you're doing reverse warrior without the chair, it's this warrior, Virabhadrasana, into reverse, the hands on the leg. But since we're in the chair, because I was keeping that gentle version, my leg wasn't to the side, it was 45 degrees forward. So it's kind of like an awkward twist. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's why I was just suggesting in that version, since your leg's not there, it was here, like, yeah, just bring the arm in. That way you're keeping really, so your spine, you're not twisting and lateral bend, you're just forward and bend. Otherwise, your student might be tempted to go like that. That was why. Little detail. Now, some of you, by the way, if comfortable, you can do that sequence with thigh on chair. Same pose, a little harder. That's the front cover of my book. Most people aren't that comfortable though in this version. If your right thigh is on the chair, left leg extends, heel on ground, toes turn in, but the hips face forward. See, that doesn't feel good in everyone's back. Take some, right? Flexibility in the thigh, but you can also do it there. Inhale, exhale, reverse warrior, and then the hand would be on the leg. Extended side angle. You don't have to flow. You can do these poses separate, but just showing. Same poses, second version. Okay, see why that's not as gentle on the hips and legs as that? I feel like that's a little more gentle, but still getting plenty of strength.
And it depends on the chair too.
Sure.
Ones I was working with had a little bit of a lip right here. And so I was going to teach them how to do the just stretch off the side. But as soon as we all moved our bums over, the chair was, so you have to be careful too with the type of chair.
There you go. That's where you writing down what to teach is wonderful, but some of it may not be practical when you get to that class and the chair didn't, you tried it and said, I forget that. And that's okay. It happens too sometimes. I'm teaching and I realize, oh, you know what, these chairs, let's not do that today. You don't realize sometimes till you try it. Yeah. Yeah, definitely good point. All right, let's try that second side. So gentle version, right leg out, left leg to left, arms out. And Janine, you also were asking about the warrior. These are flowing now. We're going one pose to the next. Yeah, if you just hold warrior 2, you can hold there 5 breaths and then you come out, but we're going to flow. So we're going to go reverse warrior, inhale. Yeah, and you can bring your hand on shoulder or hip if you're not raising the arm. Exhale, extended side angle. Now you are going a little forward if that leg's not there, so just be mindful. If you prefer hand, that's okay. Try it again, inhale, reverse. Exhale, extended side angle. Okay, and then just to show, you can also do, let's try inhale, reverse warrior. You can also just go back to warrior 2. So let's try that one more time. I didn't do the other side, but more simple. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, warrior 2. So there's that too. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then If you want to try it with that little more challenging version, if your thighs comfortable in chair, and definitely, Amy, this depends on chair height too. Sometimes people's feet dangle, in which case you want to put the chair, they're not too short for the chair is too tall for them in that pose. They could put a pillow or cushion down like that. Okay, now some people are too tall, or the chair's too short for their height on that pose. If their legs like that, because their legs are longer, then they can put the cushion under them. This is making sense, so the foot's flat, right? So you got to adjust for your height. So you could try that into reverse. Extended side angle. You can do the same flow, or inhale warrior. Sorry, inhale reverse to exhale warrior. You can do either flows. You can do 5 times each if you like, teaching or doing, yeah? Yeah, and if you're doing that, I've been doing that for some reason this week. I get in like certain little sequences I like, and I keep teaching it a week or two, and then I do others. But that's good. I've been doing that as a warm-up standing. Inhale, exhale, warrior 2, 5 times. As a first beginning of our standing poses, warm up the quads and then hold 5 breaths. And then you can go into fluff. So it could be a warm-up.
I did that today, just to extend and bend, because I know as a new yoga student years ago, my leg would shake. It's like, I can't hold it that long. Yeah.
Even that 5 rounds, that's too much for some people, so they could do 2. The rest of the class might want 5. Yeah, we're all different, right? Different. Some just get over being sick, different, so many possibilities. If you do that whole pose standing, if you want to try it, if you can do it like this, one hand on the chair, and then you could do, I call this standing chair yoga because you have the chair for balance. Now, you may not need it, but this would be it standing. Warrior 2. Reverse can just be a little curve back if you need to hold the chair. Some of you may come off for a minute. Extended side angle could be hand on chair, elbow bends, arm over. Okay, those would be like the 3 poses, and then you can flow. Inhale, warrior. Exhale, hold. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, extended side angle. You could repeat 5 times if you want your class to work, right? So does that help with those ideas?
Yes.
Okay, now the next one, you can watch if you're not doing this. This is a twist and a forward bend. Because you asked Michelle about Trikonasana and Revolved. Paravritta in Sanskrit means revolve. I don't teach the revolve seated, but I would standing, maybe. I don't really even teach this too much, but the triangle for sure is nice one. We did the seated version. Whoops, sorry, I skipped that on one side. I only did one side before when I showed you, but it would be like that's one way. Or extended triangle would be arm over. If you're skipping that leg part, it looks like crescent moon. So that would be seated. So you can do that. Standing, left heels to left, right toes to chair, arms out, inhale. Exhale, you have options, either chair top, you have to line up the chair, arm out or hand the hip, or if you can go lower, hand the chair base. I like to start top hand to hip, turn open, and then stretch up. Trikonasana. Okay, the only thing we're doing is using a chair here, so I don't have to go down the leg or floor. That's the only difference. Same benefit, stretching the hip. Extended triangle, top arm can go over here. Okay, inhale, rise. That's more simple for most people, and then you switch sides. If you want to do revolve, you asked about it, Michelle. I'm just going to show for when I put this recording on, if anyone doesn't know what that one is, it's this. You go from triangle to Paravritta. You bring the hand down, hips face down or floor. The back foot usually has to step in, and you turn the spine the other way.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot. So the chair makes it a little less of a lot, but it's still something. So I'm going to show reverse, and you're welcome to try it. You go from triangle, just like I showed on the floor. Then you bring your hands to chair, hips down. Okay, so you got to rotate the hips. Now that's a pose in itself. This is side stretch, or if your toes point forward, that's pyramid. That's kind of enjoyable, right? Little calf stretch, spine lengthening. The revolved would be, you might need to step the back foot in, line up heel to heel. I go like this. I learned this from my Iyengar yoga. That's my left leg and right. If you're mirror imaging me, if that's your right leg, take your right hand. I take to the opposite hip. I literally do this, and I turn the stomach. I'm not actually turning my pelvis. I'm just reminding my hips to turn face down And then the spine switches sides, hand to hip, twist the other way. Maybe the arm up. You might be able to go down to your forearm. Be gentle because you're forward bending and twisting. So get your length of spine more than twist. Then you come back up. You can go through triangle. It's quite a lot. You see why I don't really teach that much? I don't want anyone to hurt their back. That, like, you have to really be warmed up for that and really not have low back injury and know not to go too far down. Does that help? Some idea? If someone can't go that far down, but you can switch sides just for your body. Make sure you do both sides now. So try second side. If they can't touch the chair base, say that's too low, you can also do a chair top, right? Like that. And then you go here. If you want, the chair can even face this way. And then you lengthen, and then you can go from there. A little more higher up, maybe here. Right, so I really feel like you really want to know your back and low back for that pose, not a raw beginner pose, because it's twisty and bendy. We don't want to get the twisties like Simone did, right? We don't want to get the twisties in our revolved triangle. And that's why I really don't teach it seated, but I would say equivalent seated. We go from triangle, right, or crescent moon. The equivalent, well, I really didn't make an equivalent because it's just kind of, I just didn't have one for that would feel good in the back. But maybe windmill, you can bring your hands to thigh, spine lengthens, either hand or arm to thigh and twist. That might be a somewhat equivalent. And you could switch, I call it windmill, where hands on thigh or arm or floor or block for some. So that might be the equivalent, yeah. Does that help? Ideas? Is that good? Michelle, with some ideas? Oh, you're on mute, yeah.
No, thank you very much for those. It's the reason I asked mainly is because I hadn't seen any in the teacher training, so I was just curious.
Yeah.
But it's not; those aren't poses that I would normally put into a class. And I was just curious.
But now that you know, you may enjoy some weeks. Try that variety: chair yoga, reverse warrior, to extended side angle. Feel free to teach them; those are fine. The standing revolved triangle, you know, you may not want to teach just that in an average chair yoga class, but just it's good to know, because say one day you're teaching a yoga class and you're teaching triangle into revolved, that one student has an injury, maybe in that one pose only needs a chair. Good to know. Why not, right? More for our tool belt, I call it.
Yeah.
And we'll end now with the eagle. Janine, do you want to try teaching us the eagle? No, okay. So I'm going to teach it, and it's your left shoulder mostly that hurts lifting the arm beyond kind of shoulder height, right? Okay. So, and Donna also, I believe, sometimes your arms going up high is not comfortable. So we're going to try it. Let's all start together, gentle. Give ourselves a hug. Right arm over left. This isn't a pose, but when I teach this, I just want everyone to stay there, love ourselves, right? Little self-love. We need that more than the poses sometimes, huh? You can do the rocking twist. Okay, so this might be the eagle for some, but if you can keep going, start to lift the elbows up while the shoulders go down. Now, really eagle, so if rotator cuff injury or arm injury and it's not comfortable to lift the arms beyond here, technically an eagle, you're really not, right? You're not lifting the shoulders up beyond that height. So you lift the elbows up with shoulders down, but if it's causing pain, go lower. And that's kind of it. So see, you're doing it, Janine. And then the next step would be to get the elbows towards one over the other. It's kind of closer in. May not happen, but just know the direction. For some of you, then they can release the hands. And if you're, so Janine, say you're teaching and you're like, I'm going to stay here because my shoulder, it'll aggravate beyond, but some of you might be able to release your hands. Then they, as students, if you verbally cue, can do that or that. Okay, that would be it. And then you can switch sides. If you want to take the opposite leg over, that's the whole pose seated. Lean forward. Garudasana, the eagle. You can do both sides, the standing. For chair yoga, if you need the support of the chair, you could break it down and just do the legs. One over, because that way you need to hold the chair. You can maybe go like that, but you can't do the standing arms and hold the chair at the same time, right? So you can maybe go hand to hip and then you switch. Sometimes the toe can hook, that standing leg has to be bent. Because the eagle without the chair is opposite arm over leg. It's both arm, shoulder, and hip. Yeah, so you can break it down. Yeah, so see, it's nice you're on video because Janine, I'm actually looking at you and I can see what your arms are doing. So that would help me instruct. And I say you're here and I can see you're not straining. You can look at your students, your face isn't like, I'm in pain. So you look at your student's face. If the face looks relaxed, that's good. They're not necessarily overdoing. You can see when they're overdoing. It's like, right? So then you look comfortable. And then I would say, I suggested the next step, elbow over elbow in the direction. You may not go there today. So you can instruct based on what you see, and then you don't need to memorize, right? Amy, maybe on your notes, eagle pose, but when you look at the students without memorizing, that'll show you what to explain without memorizing, right?
Right. I just have the put like I do. I have eagle on here.
Oh, you can add it. You got so many options. Yeah, so good work. Does that help? Janine, that's your eagle. Eagle's different for everyone. There's all kinds of eagles. Not every eagle out in the sky looks the same. You might be here. Some eagles have injured wings, right? We're healing the wings wherever you are. Yeah, so good work. And now we'll end with a little bit of relaxation. So you can choose legs up on the chair. Does anyone want to practice teaching relaxation and how to come out? No, you just want to enjoy. You're off work now. That's okay. You'll enjoy.
I'm off work. I just
Okay, so then enjoy.
Thank you.
And just as you deepen the breath now, prepare for an upright seat. And there might be a last little pose you want to do, maybe a little, if you're on the ground, knee to chest, rock side to side, or a spinal twist. Sitting upright, you can do any, maybe arms up, any stretch, just to wake the body up lovingly and gently. And then eventually make your way sitting. If you want to, again, sit cross-legged on the floor, if that's comfortable, or in the chair, and then just kind of pause with your eyes closed, head centered, and feel the benefits of the practice. Now, if you felt, I don't want to come out of that relaxation pose, do that 10 minutes before you go to sleep tonight. You can hold those longer. It's real sweet, conscious, relaxing. And then we'll join the palms to prayer, head to the heart, honoring yourself, or not just, this was a training class, and not just doing your yoga, but you're, learning ideas to teach and mixing that up. That would have been a 30-minute practice, but with the questions and such, it was like the 45-minute, but that would be about a 30-minute session. So a namaste. I hope you enjoyed that. And that's just more ideas. And again, Michelle, you may never teach those. By the way, it's somewhere in your training, I think as a PDF. I do have like the reverse warriors in there. That's like what we did, the standing. It's not really in many of your classes, because that's kind of like, there's so much other poses to teach. I tend to, I won't say keep it simple, but like, right. But it's so much else. So I usually don't teach that. So that may not even be in your classes, but like that is a side stretch pose, which we did on the way from triangle to revolved triangle. Right. If you could see that. And then the revolved triangle I showed seated. If you're in a chair, wheelchair, you can do it like windmill, which this one I call stand. This is actually revolved standing wide leg forward bend, which is also I call windmill. And if you're seated, it's the windmill. So those are ways, but again, forward bending and twisting is the most common way people injure their back. I pulled my back once like that. You pick something up quick and bend and twist. So these poses you are bending, twisting. So I always like to lengthen spine and twist. But yeah, just good ideas. More than you'll need to know to teach here, but just more ideas for down the road, right?
So I do have a question. Do we have time?
Yeah, sure. If anyone needs to log off, you can, but yeah.
So how much time in terms of putting a class together do you spend standing? I know it's a chair yoga, but I still want the students, I don't want them to sit for 60 minutes.
Yeah,
right?
Good question. It really depends who's in your class. If so, everyone's seated. Like when I was teaching for many years, one of these assisted living homes in San Francisco, I don't think we barely ever taught, me and the other teachers really kept it all seated mostly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Same thing I subbed yesterday, a community age-friendly class for a senior for the towns I live in. We're now on Zoom a year and a half. It used to be in person. I was subbing, and I checked in because some used to take with me in person, but it's been a few years. I'm subbing now, and they're on Zoom. So I checked in. You can check in. I said, when Rainer's teaching, because I'm subbing, are you doing standing poses? And they said, yeah, a little bit, maybe one or two. So I taught it all mostly seated, and then, like I always do, show the seated and then optional standing for one or two. That was like 5 minutes within an hour class. If it's like a company class and they're sitting all day, I might want to get them up a few minutes in and just get them moving 30 minutes, get your cardio, make them more vigorous. So it would depend the ages and who's there. I also, if I'm on now I'm on Zoom now because I'm not in person yet here, but if you're in person, I also look at the students. And even if some are standing, when they get up, if they don't look that stable, it looks like I might not teach 20 minutes. Maybe I keep it more simple. I might change what I was teaching. If not everyone looks stable and I see the mobility is more limited, I may teach, mighty pose, warrior or two. I might not do as much. So you can depend when you're looking at them. Each time will be different. You have 21 students, right? Some weeks. Sometimes you'd be surprised because you're like offering all these standing and people rather sit, or vice versa. So you can check in. If you give option for both, they can decide, right? So if you want to teach 30 minutes standing, that's okay. If you show the seated, other people can do the whole class seated, same poses.
I think I'm finding, even just the few classes I've taught, is that people want to follow the crowd, right? So if it's really, I really want to ingrain that they really need to listen to their bodies. And just because 20 people are standing up and you're seated, that's okay. Right?
And not everyone, and some people may not be able to stand, right? So that's why I always want to show the seated, because then some can stand, but they might say, hey, I like the seated version better. I'm tired. You don't know what medications people are on, stress level. So that's why I always show the seated first, usually, right?
Yes.
And then the standing. And that way, even if some are standing, they can also go back and sit. So that way you get both, right? But we do want to encourage people teaching yoga that it's not about following what everyone's doing or looks like. It's honoring their own body. And that is, we're not trained with that, right, in life. So we have to teach ourselves with yoga that not to compare to others, not to push our body, right? We want the ahimsa, nonviolence. We have to learn to accept our own, I don't like always the word limitation, but we need to accept our own boundaries physically and emotionally, right? And mentally. So it's all a learning of that. And, you know, some people might be brand new to yoga. They're coming in your class age 95, 90, first time in these chair yoga classes, never did yoga before. And they might have not done any mind body stuff or, you know, maybe exercise, but maybe not mind body awareness. So they're used to maybe like gym classes growing up where they're pushing, compete. So it's yoga's like, I sometimes point out, yoga is not competitive. You do what's comfortable. I also want to encourage people though, push to their own. You want to challenge ourselves.
Sure.
We've got to move our body. So I don't want to always just think relax, relax, relax. It's not always that either, but yeah. And if you're teaching like at a support group or chronic illness group or people just coming out of chemotherapy, then like you might do restorative. So it's completely the opposite of pushing. So it really depends who's there. But if I have to give an average, say an hour class, mixed level, you're doing 20 or so seniors, you have a week now in person with masks. And they're seniors, even if you suggest, let's start simple, 2 feet on the ground. Say you suggest the mighty pose, come behind the chair, feet get to, because that's pretty stable, right? Versus not going right in the tree, that's harder for one leg. So you could start stable and then look around, get a sense. Do they look stable? How low are they going? What's comfortable? And if 10 people stood up and 10 people sat, you know, teach them also seated, take the arms up, do the same arms portion. But you'll see also once you offer the standing, what's going on. And maybe 10 minutes standing out of an hour class. I mean, if you do a few standing like what we did, even if you just do 5 rounds, right? Warrior, triangle, that's all leg strength. It doesn't have to be long, 5-10 minutes, you're getting strength, right? Right, or maybe a lunge, down dog, we didn't do today, standing. You can switch, it doesn't have to be in a flow, but if you do 5 minutes, you get your quad strength. I mean, if you're 100% healthy, no injury, no issue. And I do it sometimes 5 minutes, do 10 rounds of squats, you're gonna feel it like a workout, right?
Right.
You'll be tired after 30 seconds, you'll get your cardio. So don't feel that you have to, you know, do longer. It depends also how intensive what you're doing standing. But it's a great question. Start simple, start one pose, 2 minutes standing, have them sit. Next class, they all were comfortable, most were standing. Next class, try 2 poses standing. And those that want can sit. You can build up to. Feel free to check in. Hey, every day is different. You can say today, does anyone want to do standing poses and get a sense? Now, if one does and the others don't, you can still teach one, but you can also do that. It doesn't always mean you have to teach what they all want. You got to do what's good for them, right? But yeah, good questions though. There's no right or wrong. But I always like to start sitting, centering, end in relaxation. And that's because it's traditional yoga to feel relaxed and refreshed when you're done, not going right from standing poses 45 minutes to, okay, om and bye-bye, right? You want to wind them down, maybe a twist. So however long you do, however vigorous, give a few minutes to twist, relax, maybe pigeon. Yeah. So yeah, play around with it, not right or wrong. My suggestions are just suggestions from my experience. You're going to have ways that work for your students that I can never teach you to do. You'll learn about your students. They'll learn about you just from doing it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got all the answers inside of you for teaching. These students, the universe brings you these 21 students because they have something to learn from you and you from them. If the universe did not want you teaching, no one would sign up and you'd have no one this month. But here you are. The universe is challenging you with 20 chair yoga students a week or 21, and this is what you're meant to do. So
it feels good. I mean, I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to teach. So it's, yeah. I mean, you came to me, which I was a blessing right there, because I knew I'd figure out how to adapt to a chair, but I just feel so much more confident because I have, your suggestions and poses. And
Yeah, I had to scramble 23 years ago. I had to figure it out and scramble, and it wasn't as much out there as I started teaching and people with injuries. So it's much easier to kind of like learn so many ideas in consolidated ways, even if it's more than you need. Otherwise, you can make up your own ways too. These aren't set in stone. You might find nice, better ways for your students or you to modify, but at least this gives you a good foundation.
Definitely.
Of hundreds of poses and chairs, right? So yeah, good work. And as you learned today, you got some of your own practice in for mobility and focusing on the breath, and good work practicing teaching. There's no pressure, but you're always welcome to practice. You can always check in with these Q&As and say, hey, I really want to practice teaching 15-minute or flow, anything you want to do here. This is your time. So feel free each month. Don't be shy about it. This is what it's for.
All right.
Okay, well, good work. And I'll put this recording and Donna, you're not on video, so don't, if you're still there with us, you're not on video, but I'm gonna put the recording just for the training. By the way, when you click and it's a YouTube link, it's not for public YouTube, it's unlisted. I do it, which only you who have the link in the training. And I do it that way because otherwise, if I put it in the training, it's not going to show you completed the training until you watched every video. And there's like 25 hours extra with these Q&As. That's
Okay.
why there's a YouTube link, so it doesn't go against your 35 hours. You don't have to finish these to finish the course. That's why it's a YouTube.
Thank you.
Okay.
I really don't want to watch myself for another hour. So
I had something to take care of earlier, and I will look at this again. I've been here watching and doing so. Thank you so much.
Good to have you here, Donna. And I'll edit this so you have the 45-minute practice only link and the whole hour or so of the questions in the beginning. So you can just go
Right.
back to the practice if you want.
There are good questions because I know I'm not going to be able to stand up and do everything, but I will do the seated stuff. Maybe I can have like an assistant who might be able to help me do the standing stuff. I don't know. Or maybe someone can help me out of the chair and I can do something standing.
Or you could teach,
I'll have to see.
you can teach exactly what you do. If you're going to do you can also just teach it seated. I was showing the standing today for that extent, like, because Michelle asked about the twist. You don't have to teach standing if you're not doing the standing. You really don't. There's so much you can do seated that you can get plenty. You don't have to at all. You don't that way, just teach what you do, explain as you're doing it in the chair. So you definitely don't have to. And that was Amy's question too, is how much do you teach standing? And I'm saying it depends who's there or if you're, right?
Yeah, I can't in a warrior pose when you have to point your foot in another direction and then like a flat foot.
Yeah.
In the other direction. I find that hard to do with my legs.
Yeah.
I could, so I do it the best I can, but I can do my arms, but the legs.
Your best is the best for you. That is it. That's why I showed two versions. This one, as you're saying, is tricky. It is for most people like that. Yeah. That's why this one. How is that one with the, I don't know if you can see with the camera. So that's what I was showing first. Does this one work better? Just taking the legs apart?
Somewhat, just taking them apart works better for me than putting them in a position, if you can understand that.
I usually don't even teach this one in the classes. I just keep it simple like that.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do.
The other one I was just showing for those that want, but really you could just teach that way. And then the foot could be flexed if comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah. I was, again, for the training sake, I'm showing all these variety, but you can just do the first one. You don't have to do the second. And gentle doesn't mean easy. You're still strengthening your legs and shins there. It's more gentle on the joint, but it's not gentle on the muscle. It's work. That's strength. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
Good to have you all here. Wonderful to see y'all today.
Good to see you too. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Michelle, what classes are you teaching weekly now?
I teach a couple classes a week, about an hour, and they're not dedicated chair